Greetings metalheads, I'm George and this is No Nonsense Metal Reviews, and today I'm going to be reviewing the absolutely wonderful new album from Norwegian black metal turned Viking metal turned progressive metal, whatever the hell you want to call it, legends, the mighty Enslaved, with the new album Heimdal, or Heimdal, not quite sure on the correct pronunciation there, but I'm going to call it, for the intents and purposes of this review, I'm going to call it Heimdal. So this is an absolute masterpiece. Lovely artwork there, really deep. You've got the what appears to be the reflection of this beautiful landscape across a still body of water under very moody skies. Absolutely glorious artwork with just a fantastic representation of the truly stunning music contained within. So for me, Enslaved are relatively a new band, because I have only really gotten into them in the last sort of year to 18 months. Can't quite be any more specific than that, but I'm relatively new to them. However, over that time, I have, in a very unconventional manner, sort of been delving into their catalogue, starting with sort of mid-period albums and then going more recent and then back and to the early stuff and then back to the middle, recent and back again. So I've done it in a completely mishmash way. But this album, this is absolutely stunning. This is easily one of the best albums I've heard so far this year, and it's easily one of the best Enslaved albums I've heard. As I say, I got into the band in a slightly different way, starting with mid-period and then going more recent. So albums like In Times and Utgard, the last previous album, I think those are absolutely astounding albums. Utgard in particular is a really brilliant piece. But this album, this is next level stuff. This is absolutely impeccable. I would say overall, this is a progressive metal album. It's a prog metal album. So it's definitely going to tick a lot of the right boxes for prog metal fans. Having said that, I am not a massive fan of prog or prog metal or prog rock, whatever you want to call it. It's kind of passed me by. I think I've just gotten into other aspects and other areas of heavy music, black metal, thrash metal, power metal, whatever it may be. But I don't really listen to a huge amount of progressive metal. There are a few exceptions, but I can't honestly tell you much about the catalogue of a band like Dream Theater or Opeth. Not that Enslaved sound like them, but bands that are commonly regarded as prog metal or prog rock. However, the progressive elements that we get here, which is the majority of the sound and stylism, is very progressive. It's really good. It's really brilliant stuff. So I would definitely say it's progressive metal, but I would say that there is a strong influence of sort of atmospheric elements, of black metal, of folk metal, or the Viking metal tradition of the band, because of course Enslaved are considered, or certainly were considered for the bulk of their career, to be a Viking metal band. Now, I would say that what this album does, what Heimdal does, is just merges all of those elements together absolutely seamlessly. It's not like there's track 1, which is a prog track, track 2, which is a black metal track, track 3, which is really folky and Viking influence. Not at all. It's completely seamless. You get heavy elements in every song, progressive elements in every song, beautiful blend of great clean vocals, and then really aggressive black metal style vocals as well. It's just so expertly written and constructed. I cannot find a fault with this album. Not that I'm looking for a fault, but I would say, because I have listened to this since it came out, I've listened to this, it must be in excess of 20 times. I absolutely freaking love it. It's so good, so memorable as well. The material is so catchy, it really easily sticks in the mind. Just brilliant, absolutely fantastic stuff. So, talk a little bit about some of these tracks then, because we've got 7 tracks here, start to finish brilliant. It's not a massively long album either, which is quite nice. It's I think it's less than 50 minutes long, between sort of 45 and 50 minutes long perhaps. But we kick off the album with a track called Behind the Mirror. Now that is definitely more of the more characteristic of progressive metal. Definitely, there's a lot of very progressive parts there, but it is also brilliantly heavy. And that's the thing to remember here. I know we're talking about atmospheric elements and progressive elements. This album is freaking heavy. This is a heavy hitting album. Absolutely fantastic. So although Behind the Mirror it's very, very atmospheric, with the beautiful sort of melding of these melodies, the clean vocals, with these sort of progressive elements, these little notes and sequences in the background, and it's just so magically brilliant. It's absolutely fantastic. But it's as I say, it's a very progressive track, but it's very good. It's very good. It's such a brilliant way to kick off the album. And then it leads into Congelia, the second track there, which has some undeniably thick black metal tones in there. Certainly in the drum patterns and the drum structure. The drumming at the beginning there is just very black metal, certainly in some of the vocals as well. Some of the riffs are really heavy, and it's really driving, marching stuff. Absolutely fantastic track. Track 3 is Forest Dweller, which is exactly, when that track comes on, that artwork there is exactly what I envisage in mind. Forest Dweller, I think it was one of the leading singles, or it may have actually been an EP from last year perhaps, I assume, and that is a brilliant track. It starts off with this very nice sort of acoustic piece, very short sort of intro, before we get really heavy riffs. We get some really heavy, very melodic riffs there. Brilliant stuff. It's a really heavy song, good progressive elements, good mix of, again, there's those black metal elements coming up there. It's heavy, it's very catchy, it's just absolutely fantastic. Kingdom, another brilliant track. Again, seamlessly melding heavy elements with very progressive and beautiful atmospheric parts. One of the main standouts for me, though, has to be track number 5, The Eternal Sea. It is an absolutely beautiful song. The intro and the first part of the song is very atmospheric. It's very ambient. It's absolutely stunning. We get some interesting sort of key and synths parts. Really, really delicate, deep bass work as well. Really fantastic. And then it's just beautifully progressive. It's heavy. There's no denying that. But it's very deep. It's very emotive stuff. Very, very... There's depth and character to this music. It's not just the sort of stuff that you just chuck on in the car and speed along to. This is the sort of music where really it would benefit from closing your eyes and putting your headphones on and just submerging yourself in that beautiful music. And The Eternal Sea is one of those definite moments. Caravans to the Outer World, which is a beautiful progressive piece, really good, and it's also very heavy. Do not underestimate the heaviness of Enslaved and certainly of this album. And Caravans to the Outer Worlds is a 6-minute plus progressive metal masterpiece. We've got some really out there kind of spacey, trippy parts. We've got really heavy riffs. We've got some absolutely pummeling drumming as well. Great stuff. And the closing title track, Heimdal, absolutely glorious. Absolutely glorious. It's a real song of multiple parts, where we've got very progressive parts, we've got really heavy parts towards the sort of the beginning, midsection, and then towards the end, we've got great clean vocal work. It's very uplifting, it's very powerful. There's just so much going on in this album. And actually, listening to it as many times as I did, I needed to listen to it that many times just to be able to do quite a vague review about how good this album is, because there is so much going on. This is such a busy album, but at the same time, it's not for a moment, or not even in the slightest bit, overly complicated. It gives the feeling, and it gives the impression of being very simple and straightforward. However, it's far from it, because there is so much going on. It's an absolute masterpiece. It is an ode to seriously good songwriting and musicianship and just cohesion of a band. It's brilliant. It's a true masterpiece. If you're not a fan of Enslaved, maybe you just haven't gotten into them yet, you haven't heard them, check this album out, because although I would say they do have a really quite a mixed back catalogue, no bad albums in my opinion. I have not found an Enslaved album which I think is a bad album by any means. But when you take the very black metal rooted earlier work such as Frost, and then you work through the sort of mid-period of the band, we've got some absolutely fantastic albums in there, absolutely no doubt whatsoever. Below the Sea, albums like that, absolutely fantastic. But then we've got completely different stuff going on as well. And then in the more recent albums, they've started to get sort of massively heavier again, in my opinion. But this album, just even as a standalone, is the point I'm getting to. Even as a standalone album, this is a masterpiece. This is an absolute masterpiece, and you've got to hear it. Do not delay. Personal highlights for me, I've already said, the Eternal Sea is a standout moment for me. The title track, Heimdal, as well, and the second track, Congelia, because I am a very big black metal fan these days, and that is one of those tracks where you get more of that kind of drive, certainly in the drumming anyway, and some of the riff work. It's very black metal. So, there we have it. My review of the mighty Enslaved with their brand new album, Heimdal, an album that you absolutely must check out. YouTube it, Spotify it, or do the decent thing and order yourself a copy, get yourself a vinyl, get yourself a CD, whatever. Show these guys some love, because they frickin' deserve it. And I'm very much looking forward to seeing the mighty Enslaved in May at Incineration Fest. I am buzzing for that. I will not be missing that for love nor money. So, thanks again for watching, my friends. Hope that you've enjoyed the review. Please share your thoughts and opinions on Heimdal and the mighty Enslaved. Check back soon for more reviews and recommendations of all things good and heavy. Of course, you can like and subscribe the video. That'd be very much appreciated. But take care, my friends. Stay heavy.